Il y a 20 ans, en 1989, le game designer Ron Gilbert du studio LucasArts commençait à travailler sur le projet Monkey Island. Il était secondé par deux jeunes designers, Tim Schafer et Dave Grossman. En 2009, la saga fait son grand retour au sein du studio Telltales Games. Cette fois-ci, c'est Dave Grossman qui est aux commandes du navire, accompagné dans l'aventure par un autre vétéran de LucasArts, Mike Stemmel, et d'un nouveau venu sur la série, Mark Derrin.
I had never really considered computer games as a way that people made a living until I answered an ad from a little company called Lucasfilm, a growing game design division. Back in 1989, I got hired for some reason that I still don't understand, and I went to work there, and the first project that I worked on there was called The Secret of Monkey Island.
We're just having fun in the office. We didn't really know what we were working on, or that it would be, received like it was. It was just, we were just kind of goofing off and made the first Monkey Island game.
Working with Ron Gilbert and Tim Schafer and Steve Purcell was really a hoot, because all of those guys are really, really funny people. And I get a little bit asthmatic, and it was actually kind of a problem for me to be in design meetings sometimes, because we would go all day and we'd just be laughing, and I'd be coughing and laughing and coughing. Ron Gilbert is probably one of the sharpest minds in terms of just sort of designing a game and a story at the same time. He really understands like how to do puzzle design, how to integrate it with a compelling story. He also knows how to run a team really well. He's a really good team leader. He gives you the tools to do your best work, and at the same time he kind of gives you the enthusiasm to do that work.
Three of us all had different areas in the game we worked on. We all kind of collaborated on the puzzles together, and then designing them. And then it was Ron's idea, and his main outline for the story, the characters and puzzles were there. And then Dave and I and Ron would take different sections. Ron took the ghost ship, that was really his area. Dave took the later the Monkey Island itself areas, and I worked a lot with the Melee Island characters, although Dave worked on that stuff too. The first thing I ever worked on was Stan, the new ship salesman. That was my character. He had the crazy waving arms that Steve Purcell had animated.
Telltale from the beginning has been interested in these sort of classic adventure game properties, and Monkey Island in particular was always something that we kind of had in the back of our minds that we might want to do, and Dan Connors, our CEO, would occasionally contact LucasArts just to kind of test the waters and see how that might play out. At one point, LucasArts just got a new president, Daryl Rodriguez, who has been kind of personally championing the old adventure game properties, and I think it was really that sort of mind shift over there that allowed us to make a deal to finally do it. As soon as we had ink on paper and I was able to talk to anyone, the first thing I wanted to do was call Ron up and see what he thought. So I did. I called him up. I said, Ron, we're going to make a Monkey Island series. Do you want to say anything about that? And he said, well, I'm going to be down in your neighborhood pretty soon. He's actually he's been up in Canada working for another company on another game, so we couldn't just sort of have him all the time. But he was going to be in our neck of the woods, and so we had him come in for a couple of days and just brainstorm stuff with us, and we threw all our story ideas against him to see if they would stick.
At last, my victory is at hand.
I think the specific challenges are getting that right balance of the serious undertones that Monkey Island always has. There's a seriousness that goes kind of throughout its core, and then it's layered with silly on top of that. So making sure that balance is just right is kind of unique to what we do in Monkey Island. As a writer, I'm especially proud of what we're doing with the character relationships. It's something that we at Telltale haven't really had an opportunity to really delve in before we did Monkey Island, where we're using characters that are real people and have real emotions and real connections to one another. And this is something that we can build on in an episodic tale. Is just how these characters fit together and how you bond with them as a player, and you really get to like them and you really get detached.
Holy screaming starfish! I think I've just found my ride off this stinking island.
And also we take a little bit more time to get personal with each of the characters in turn, so there's usually somebody who's kind of got a featured role besides Guybrush in any given episode who's getting a little bit of camera time. We're working on kind of developing the relationships and just generally sort of treating it all, I guess, a little bit more adultly than we used to.
I think Morgan Le Fay is one of the characters that I'm most proud of. She's there to kind of change the dynamics between Elaine and Chuck and Guybrush and be somebody that you really like and you really get to know. And I think that she's done that. She's kind of resonated with the fans a lot. And so I'm really proud of that aspect of it.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Morgan Le Fay, mighty pirate hunter. My name is feared across the seven seas. I've taken down
Tales of Monkey Island has some kind of almost mystical elements with like ancient artifacts and the ancient Mer people civilization and so forth. And the reason for that, I think, is just that there's the ocean. And the ocean is sort of, especially in sort of old-timey piratey times, and even still today, we don't know a lot about it, and the idea that there are things sort of lurking around it and lurking beneath it is very compelling, and was something that we just wanted to include in the series, the element of mystery.
I'm very proud of the overall arc of the season and what we're doing with Elaine and Guybrush and Voodoo Lady and LeChuck, and I'm proud of the incredible bait and switches we're doing in the fourth episode story-wise, which by the time you see this, I'm a little lazy, yes, I know. By the time you see this, you'll all know what I'm talking about.
Tales of Monkey Island is the first Monkey Island series released in 9 years, so the audience has had that 9 years. I think it's 9 years. 9 years to kind of build up their expectations about what they were going to see, and of course they're all sort of doing that individually, so nobody's expectations are quite exactly the same as anyone else's.
Monkey Island has an incredibly dedicated fan base, but as it happens, I've worked on a number of licenses now with incredibly rabid fan bases, so I've kind of gotten used to it. And plus, I've worked on a Monkey Island game before, so you know, I've learned to interface with the fans pretty well by this point. But you know, pressure's always there. I kind of like the pressure.
There's always a little bit of pressure. You want to do it right. You want to make sure you appease the fans and you follow the story that Monkey Island has set forth. It's something that is beloved to the fans and to myself. I'm a fan as well, so I want to make sure that we get everything right in the game. And by right, I mean we're making a genuine pirate story, and that Guybrush isn't suddenly a different character, and that he's not a superhero Jack Sparrow pirate. He's Guybrush. He's kind of the pirate wannabe, but he's got his wit and charm, and it's got to be funny, and it's got to be not the same thing you've seen before, but not too different that it feels like we're just going off. So it's a lot of pressure to do it right, both to appease the fans and to ourselves to make sure that we're kind of upholding that integrity as well.
I've had 20 years now to think about what it is about Monkey Island that people respond to, and I think what it is that it works on more than one level. So you've got the kind of surface level of moment by moment entertainment that's really funny. The lines are kind of one-off laughs, but then underneath that you've actually got what is kind of a fairly serious story. The Secret of Monkey Island is about a young guy who comes to a strange land, kind of seeking his life's dream and finds love on the way. And there's nothing inherently very hilarious about that. So that you sort of come away from it feeling like you've taken something with you. I think more than just the humor.